There we are. We are live. And they said it wouldn't happen. They said we wouldn't make it. They said there would be no 25th season. But here we are. It is noon Eastern time, which of course means it is time for the High Noon Hemp Show. You can find us in various places. Temptations Beach Facebook page. Also, the YouTube channel is Jedi Hemp. And on the old X or Twitter, whatever you call it these days, at Temptations. I'm Stoner Jesus. I do various things on the interwebs, which you, of course, can search out on your favorite search engine, your Bing or your Netscape or your AOL or whatever it is. He is Beach, an undisclosed location. He loves hemp. As you can see, Beach, how are things this week in the world of temptations?
God, it's chugging right along. We're back to snowy weather, so
Yeah.
is what it is. It doesn't affect the hemp too much. There's definitely plenty of stuff going on in the hemp world this week again. It's going to be a good show. And remember, folks, the FDA has not evaluated this show for safety or efficacy. That being said, let's put our peace signs on our hemp and do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the hemp fields of America and to the soil in which it is planted. One seed under the sun with responsibility, sustainability, and thrivability for all. There you have it. Speaking of that, Stoner, do you actually know what today is?
It's a very special day. I know that, but more specifically, what day is it, Beach?
Hemp Day! That's right, folks. Every high noon hemp show happens on Hemp Day, and we love it. That's what we're here for. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We definitely got a lot of good stuff, mostly good stuff to talk about in the news. So let's get on with the predecessor to the news. How about some products to spotlight on the product spotlight here on the High Noon Hemp Show? Um, okay, the first one is these are cards. I don't know how many people are actually mailing cards or giving cards, but I feel like this is a great alternative to the traditional card that would be made out of wood pulp, cut down a tree to give a gift of thought to someone. These are obviously hemp cards of different designs, mostly or all pretty much nature derived there. But really neat. It's a nice little. If you want to give the gift of a card, we have plenty to select from, and you can hand write a message inside and be personal. How about a little Swine Army oneie lighter holder? These are kind of fun. Again, you got your oneie that comes with it, and then over on the side holds your lighter. If you do it just right, you can actually light. You don't have to take the lighter out. You just hold it just right, and you light your pipe while it's still in there. And there's a couple other options for these. There's one that actually bends out and comes with like a poker and whatnot. But the Swine Army definitely coming up with some neat little oneie slash lighter holders. Either way. Here's a little, I call this like a computer bag, laptop, pad, whatever you may. It should hold just about everything, up to like a bigger laptop, a smaller laptop for sure. Most of iPads and all the other pads that exist, I don't even know what else is out there, but um, we love our Weekend Sun. They're over in West Virginia, dedicated to hemp for a long time, making great products one way or another. And then yesterday, I redid the the wall of hats. And so this is, the only thing that's not in this shot, and I feel bad about, is actually the wide brimmed no bad ideas. It's the only hats that are different, and they should be an option in this picture. But you got beanies for kids, kids hats. You got beanies and scarves as well for big big people. I should say, larger humans. I don't know about big people. That top row hanging up there, those are like really thick, heavy duty, what they call a paperboy hat. And then, of course, multiple selections for just your regular old cap, baseball cap, as you might call it. Most of you, if you know me or have watched the show, may have noticed that I wear a hat. And I wear a hat every day of whether it is a beanie or whatever. Chances are, on a very few occasions, do I not wear a hat. I've got a handful of hemp fedoras that I, wear if it's a fancy event, if I'm to be dressed up. But I love hats. I love supplying the world with hats. There are a lot of hemp hats. It's one thing that has been. There are a lot of options, honestly, when it comes to hemp hats. So, there you go. I guess not the stereotype, but hippies love hats. No. We used to joke back in the day, hippies can't afford hemp. But anyway, there you have it. For or a wall of
Yes.
from the store. The one from my door, and I know I showed this not too long ago, but I've been using this quite a bit. This is, other than my backpack, this bag I have been carrying with me a lot. It fits my checkbooks, and it's kind of my office now, actually, even though I don't put a computer in it because I still keep my computer in my backpack. But it is a computer bag, would fit any laptop because it's decently sized. They're so well made. Again, I've had this bag for 20 years, I'm guessing at least. I think I might have had issues with the strap and where the strap attached, not like with the hemp strap that it came with originally. I think it was just like the clasp that clasped it on, maybe. It's got great pockets, big zipper pocket in the back. Obviously, the two pockets in the front there. You put your pens and whatever else in the middle there. It's a great bag. Again, a bag that I have used and continue to use over the years for a very long time. So there you have it. 4 from the store, 1 from my door here on the Product Spotlight High Noon Hemp Show.
Indeed.
Bidaboo.
If you've followed the saga of the beachwear segment, we didn't get an update last week. I forgot. So I'm just going to go right now live to the Guinness World Records X page and see what they think is incredible. There's this kid who does incredible mental math. Okay, that's pretty good. 4 hours ago, they posted, "We want more world records." Well,
what else can we do?
I'm going to bookmark. I'm going to tweet at them later from that tweet. I'm going to quote tweet that and say, "Look, we're right here. World's tallest guy. 3 competitors try to eat the most wasabi in 1 minute." So that's the kind of stuff we're working with. While they ignore Beach's many hemp records, how much wasabi you can stuff in your face in 1 minute. I don't know who won or what the record is. I didn't stick around to find out. I don't care. That's just not important. What is important is how much hemp stuff Beach has. It's world record worthy. If you want more world records, and we talk about it every single week for 6.5 years, especially the clothing part of it in this section, because Beach will always tell you what he's wearing. All you have to do is ask him, "What are you wearing, Beach?"
It's true. If you're curious, what are you wearing? From head to toe, well, it's hemp. We know. But here's
Blue.
yet another outfit. And, I just thought of it. Yet another world record that I should, in fact, set. And maybe that is, how much hemp clothing can I put on in a minute? Huh? Well, maybe we'll try that one. I don't know. Anyway, on my hemp lid, my hemp lid this week is probably one of my favorite hats out there. It's just a fair hemp with the hemp symbol. Kind of looks like the Ford symbol. If you don't know, Ford built a car out of hemp. But this is probably one of my all-time favorite hats over the years. I wear it so much that I had to clean it and wash it in the shower the other day. Then on my jacket, to keep me warm because it's cold here again, is a hemp hood lamb. My hoodie is Dash Hemp. Check out Dash Hemp. I'm pretty sure they still exist. They've been around for a long time, still making great clothing. But definitely one of my more unique pieces as far as my collection goes. I have a pair of Dash Hemp jeans, blah, blah, blah. I really wish I could find, they used to put hemp rocks on a lot of their clothing. And for some reason, I can't find like any of my shirts that have the little hemp rocks on the sleeve. Now that I think about it, that's weird. Anyway, underneath all of that is a Young Maven t-shirt. My jeans are Kentucky Hemp Outfitter carpenter pants. In my pocket there, as always, my Green Springs Technology pen. Underneath it all, a pair of Hemptopia briefs. Those are Kind socks and Wicked boots. Kind socks and Wicked boots. I feel like that's like a good name for an album or a song or something. I'm gonna have to write a hemp song about kind socks and wicked boots.
There you go.
Man, I'll forget that idea. Someone remind me later. Kind socks and wicked boots. There you have it, folks. If you're wondering, what are you wearing, Beach? Now you know. Yet another great option to watching the High Noon Hemp Show. I don't go through it in a sexy voice like you think I might, but there you have it. All right. I think I got one of the commercials I made years ago that was the Triple Beach commercial. So let's watch a commercial and we'll be back with the news. How far does this Hemptations thing go? Our customers have been scoring hemp all the way from O'Brienville to Sharonville, north side to Dayton. What do you mean? We don't do mean. We don't do mean. I want the facts. Go to Hemptations.com or any one of the locations. Having Hemptations? Has definitely one of my favorite lines. We don't do mean. I love that one. Anyway, all right. Well, let's just see what's going on around the world this week. South Africa has approved 26 farms for mass cultivation. It seems like there's a little bit of people that are going to grow a lot of hemp in South Africa. Africa, the continent, is becoming pretty hemp friendly everywhere. But this is, I think, the first move in South Africa. I don't know what they call them, states or areas. They're going to officially grow industrial hemp. So, I mean, I think that, hemp farming for grain in Africa, where there's a lot of people that need, good food, is a great idea. Specifically, I don't know if they're growing for CBD or what, or fiber or what, but we'll see, I guess. So I know I reported on the hemp coffin. Probably like a year ago. They were in development.
Yeah.
They are officially available in the UK. So these are made by Loop Biotech, and they're made from mycelium, which is hemp or fungus, mycelium and hemp. They grow the mycelium basically in the hemp, so the hemp is in the shape of what they want to make. And then they put the mycelium on it and they literally grow the mycelium into the mold to make these products. And mycelium and hemp, as far as a composite, as much the future of composites as just hemp composite is. And in fact, I think this one's really going to be interesting to watch. But these are, again, if you live in the UK, are available. And this particular, and I think, again, this is great. I always said that I wanted to be buried. If I was to be buried, I would be buried in the, untreated wood. Um, this is basically the same thing. Starts to break down within 45 days. And again, from nature we come, to nature we should go. That is, I understand these traditions of burial, which are very new, in all honesty, semi new to humanity. Okay. Um, but, up until recently, it was still very natural. I wasn't in a concrete box in another box that lasts for centuries and centuries. That's a ridiculous idea. And so I definitely believe that if I was to be buried, you're looking at my coffin right there. um, you know, as much as maybe when I am gone, and I'll probably be cremated for reference. Maybe add my ashes into some hempcrete. Maybe make a hempcrete paver with my ashes or something. That's not a bad way to use my ashes when I'm gone. Anyway, so if you're in the UK and you're looking for a really natural way to be buried, which we all should, there you have it. Loop Biotech. Check them out. They are now available. They call it a living coffin. I think that's irony. So there is. I tell you what, man, Texas. They can't decide. They go back and forth. But a man in Texas is serving 4 months in jail for legally purchasing a THCA cartridge. Again, I don't even know how, in any way, they got away with this. I think, and again, this reminds me of one of the times that I had to spend time in jail, 24 hours when I was in college. Um, because what happened to me was I lost my wallet. And in the process of retrieving my wallet from the Tiffin Police Department, they busted me for having a fake ID. So, lost my wallet, went to get it, got 24 days in jail. The judge even said to me, I wish I could do anything but give you 24. I wish I could do it. I mean, this is the least that I can do because this is like one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard. Honestly, the judge told me that, but he had to. So here's yet another completely ridiculous. This guy's getting 4 months in jail for having a THCA cart on him. He was riding his bike, okay, not even driving, riding his bike when he got into a bike accident that knocked him unconscious.
Oh.
While unconscious, the police went through his pockets, found this legally purchased cart, and then wrote him a ticket for marijuana, whatever. So this guy is now in jail because he was knocked unconscious in a bike accident. And they found his legally purchased THCA cart. And yeah, Texas, come on. This is, I don't, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I mean, that is just it's just sad. That's a sad world. The guy was riding his bike. I mean, again, I just can't. I mean, the inhumanity of the story is so unbelievable. So unbelievable. Anyway. Okay. So I know for a fact that I am not going to pronounce this correctly, but it's the, I'm going to do my best here, folks. Tamawak plant, okay, is going to be manufacturing hemp blocks up in the Alberta, Canada area. So there you go. Um, I think they're starting out at about 150. They can do about 150 blocks a day, um, and this is kind of a collaboration because it's the Frog Lake First Nation owns the majority of it, and this is again yet another indigenous community that is embracing hempcrete as a building material. We're seeing it here in the United States. Now we're seeing it in Canada as well. So they're going to own 51% of it, majority. And then you have the Natural Fiber Technologies, which is going to own about 39%. And then the actual town of Elk Point is investing, and they will own about 10% of the plant that's going to manufacture these blocks. So I think this is a great investment. I mean, for the indigenous people to own the majority is awesome. For the city to invest in it, shows their desire to put themselves behind this. And then obviously the Natural Fiber Technologies knows as much as, and this is probably where the Natural Fiber Technologies, if they're really working in the fiber industry, the part of the plant that goes into the hempcrete is that outside kind of part that holds the fiber, and so those two are separated. And so not only are they getting the benefit of fiber, but they're getting you get the benefit of this byproduct of the fiber industry, which is also a byproduct of the grain industry. It's all, no matter what you're actually growing for, you can still use all those other parts for what they are known for: fiber, grain, the what they call the hurd or the shiv, which is the part that they make the hemp blocks out of. All that can be good. It can be used. So uh, more hempcrete stuff to come in the news today, because you know how much I love to talk about hempcrete, because everybody loves hempcrete. Everybody. If you don't love it, then you're just ridiculous. Um, so Alabama Senator Tim Milson. So everybody, if you live in Alabama, call this guy's office. Tim Milson. So he introduced a bill to ban intoxicating hemp and put it in the same class as heroin. Okay. Now, this included THC, which you cannot do. You cannot. Goes against the industrial and hemp section of the 2018 Farm Bill. You cannot say zero THC because there's 0.3% by dry weight allowable, and that makes all of that hemp. Now the D8 and the D10, that may be another hypothesis because those are synthetic. And again, they take one part of the plant, the CBD or the whatever it is, and they turn that into Delta 8 or Delta 10. Now, these are naturally occurring cannabinoids, but they're so low that they can't be increased in percentage wise enough to just get them naturally in the flower. Okay. But they are naturally occurring cannabinoids. So, that's where synthetic gets a bad rap. Because, and I think it's so funny because, synthetic is definitely used negatively by politicians and the moral police to describe Delta 8 and Delta 10 and HHC and some of these other ones. in a bad way, but they're totally fine with it when it's to make their plastic or even some of the food products.
Yeah.
Artificial flavoring is synthetic. Okay. Just again, and so and here basically synthetic just means taking one thing and turning it into something else. That's really the easy definition of synthetic. When it comes to Delta 8 and Delta 10, that's what they use, what's there in the flower, and then they use chemistry and science and then turn it into. And again, if they bring it back to 100% Delta 8, then again, it's the exact same thing. But you can't, again, you cannot ban THC. You can't. It's just never going to happen. It's not you. I mean, he might get away with it because it's Alabama, and they is quite the conservatives, the moral South, and so he might get away with it. But I do believe that this one will be easy to reverse because of the THC part. If they just tried to ban Delta 8 and Delta 10 on the synthetic side of things, they might be able to get away with that easier. But trying to ban THC, and again, less industrial hemp, and this will make industrial hemp illegal in the state of Alabama, just so you know. Okay. Because if they say that THC is illegal and just as um, uh, harmful as heroin, not harmful, as whatever, as bad, whatever, as heroin, um, then rightfully so, all industrial hemp will be illegal because of that 0.3% THC. This one doesn't surprise me. When I see states like Alabama doing this again, it's pure ignorance on the politicians' aspect of things, um, as usual, because it's some type of moral decision, and they don't understand the science of it either, and because they don't want to understand science because it's a moral decision. Ah, anyway. Um, so this one again, purely baffling to me. Why you would go through the troubles of growing 7,000 hemp plants in Indiana, a state that embraces the growing of industrial hemp. Indiana, honestly, for one of those kind of cannabis moral um, states, there's still no medical and no recreational in Indiana. They've kind of embraced the industrial hemp thing and promoting it as an agricultural crop here. Um, Somebody in the state grew 7,000 hemp plants unlicensed. I'm like, okay, let's just go through this. If you're going to grow a bunch of unlicensed hemp, 7,000 plants? I mean, he might have still been in the middle of nowhere, but that's still not hiding. You can't, you can't hide that. All right. Um, Two, if you're going to grow hemp in Indiana, why not just get a license?
Yeah.
I mean, again, if you think you can, afford to grow 7,000 hemp plants, just look into a license. Um, uh, and so, lastly, if Indiana somehow has some crazy licensing fee, which I don't think they do. I don't know about it. I've not heard anything, but I have to look into it to find out. You're not going to go over to Ohio and grow it because that licensing fee is stupid anyway. Why not just look into some property down in Kentucky where it's super cheap? Again, this one just baffles me. What a waste of hemp, no matter what it was being grown for. A complete waste of hemp, all because this farmer, for whatever reason, maybe they had um, a federal charge against them, and so they couldn't, or a felony charge. I'm sorry, a felony charge against them, so they couldn't get a license because under the federal program, you can't grow hemp if you have a felony charge, which is ridiculous. It should be changed. But I just, just amazing, really, that you would go through the process uh, um, and they were fully mature plants, so they thought they were going to get away with it right up until they didn't get away with it. And again, to me, it's like, man, just look in to see how much a license is to grow. I think they were doing a good job of growing. And again, it looked like flour, so I'm sure it was CBD, um, which is going to make it even worse on them in the long run. Although, I mean, what happens there? I'm kind of curious as to what happens there as far as our charges brought. Do they destroy the plants and you get to walk away kind of with because that's what happens when you test hot, 0.4% or higher, and there's an allowable percentage of up to actually 0.9% that you can then do a retest after to see if the THC content comes down once you've cut the flower. But anyway, you come up higher than that. There's no criminal charges. Plants are destroyed. I would only hope that you could come back the next year and file for a license, get better, more reliable seed that's going to come up under that 0.3% to so you can be successful at what you're doing. And so, I guess if they tested these plants and they did come up again with that 0.3% or less, technically making them industrial hemp, there is no criminal charge for that. I'm assuming they're just going to have to destroy their hemp, which I'm sure they probably burned in the fields. The police enforcement, I'm sure, had a blast burning that in the fields, thinking that was just a great old time. I love a bonfire, but that's just a waste of cannabis. And I say that because I haven't seen these posts in a while, but like even up to 10 years ago, there were some of the northern latitude, like Wisconsin, and I think it was mostly Wisconsin. Like every year, they would put this big post out about how their police enforcement found 500 acres of marijuana. They don't have these pictures of burning it. And it was literally hemp that grew back every year. And they did this every year for these photo ops. And they would let the seeds, when they were cutting them down, they would wait until it went to seed. So the seeds would drop. They'd take all these plants, pile them up, get their drug money for fighting the drug cause and burn these hemp plants. That was, again, left over from when industrial hemp was legal. And again, in Wisconsin, I believe it's Wisconsin, they were still actually growing industrial. They were the last place to actually be growing industrial hemp up until the late 60s. And I believe this, and I don't know, and if anybody knows, I would love to know, get the facts on this. I believe it was because this particular farm and processing, manufacturing, had a contract with the military to still supply them with riggings and things like that. So I don't know for sure, but I do know that for some reason after World War II, when they went back to the Marijuana Tax Act, which made industrial hemp illegal, after imploring American farmers to grow industrial hemp for the war, nobody but this particular area of Wisconsin was growing hemp, and then they had to cease. I believe they ceased right around the same time that the controlled substance list, which was 1970, 1969, 1970, is when they officially came up with the controlled substance list, taking marijuana spelled with a J, I think at the time, or an H, I don't know, and they reversed it. So anyway, It's terrible, terrible. What a waste of hemp, one way or another. In Tennessee, talk about a waste of hemp. How about this waste of hemp? Um, the Seaverville police. I've actually driven through. I remember this place, and the DA are getting sued after wrongfully seizing about $850,000 worth of hemp. Okay, in the process of seizing it, failing to be able to charge the people with anything because it was hemp and completely legal to be grown in Tennessee, while it was being held by the police, it went bad. Okay, which leads me to believe that, again, this was definitely CBD, CBG, CBN, maybe any of those, THCA. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It was industrial hemp. Um, but because they didn't store it correctly, the police, um, it went bad. Therefore, they lost out. So I truly believe that they're gonna lose that money, and this is going to be once again, either way, a reminder to local law enforcement, no matter where you are, you better double check that you know the laws before you go and act in your jackboot ways. Um, and so I do believe that either way, this was in a drying facility or something. I don't know. And when they seized it, and then who knows? But went bad, and they owe these people $850,000 if that's what they lost.
Yeah.
And I want to be clear that although 90% of the time police officers cannot be held accountable for their actions, okay, because they are basically what they will always claim, acting in good faith of the law. Okay. Um, but when it is proven that they did not do their due diligence and they were not acting in good faith of the law because they didn't know the law, they can be held accountable. So, we'll be keeping an eye on this. I will definitely let everybody know how this one turns out as soon as I know how this one turns out. So I saw, and I don't think this was a scam because I didn't notice. Well, I guess I should have. This looked real. Could have been a scam, one of the scam ones, but apparently, I don't think this one. I think this one was real because this one was talking about how William Shatner actually uses CBD. He's 93, still goes out, does stuff. Looks actually, the picture they showed him, he looks pretty good for 93. That's for sure. But he gives CBD a lot of credit for his ability um, to manage a movable life, as I think I saw it or something. So, and I don't know. I can't. He may have his own. Next thing we know, he'll have his own products. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm not saying. Get your Captain Kirk CBD. It's really good. Anyway.
CBD.
That's my best. That's my best Captain Kirk. Ah, just yet another. Again, for every story about an actor whose name's been stolen to hawk you possibly fake CBD gummies, there's actually an actor out there that positively uses CBD. Um, and a lot of them then actually do come out with their own lines of stuff. Mostly the creams and not as much the tincture. They're more body products and stuff. But so that it happens. So they're building a 700 square foot building. They're building a building. Can you imagine? In Eureka, California. Now, this is said to be, and I think I had showed a picture of these. They're standing in front of,
Yeah. Oops.
okay, so What you're looking at here is said to be the first integration of California building codes in French construction standards using hemp prefabricated wall systems for rapid construction. Okay. Yet again, the Indigenous Habitat Institute is spearheading the project, um, with the walls being made at Hoopa Modular Plant. So I believe if you on the floor there, I think they're kind of showing you, basically, honestly, how simple it would be to mold a prefabricated hemp wall. You just fill that in with hemp, let it dry, bim bam boom, there's your wall. Again, because they're building, and you can tell there's those boards are 18 inches apart, which is your standard construction. Your walls in all modern houses are built with the frames, 2x4s, 18 inches apart. Okay, and so they're building the frames that can be put together. Those are the load bearing frames that you have to build with hempcrete in the United States, and then they're just filling that frame in, and then they can make however big a warehouse space they have of these, ship them to your house, put them together, bim bam boom, you got yourself a hemp house.
Mhm.
So, most houses now, and even some of the larger ones, are quite a bit prefabricated. It is it's the quickest, cheapest way to build a house, and so coming up with a hempcrete idea or a way to do this, is once again it's game changing, brilliant. It's game changing. Okay, so article: the shower curtain switch that could seriously benefit your bathroom. And I had some hemp shower curtains for a while, and I'm not sure where those ever ended up. But the article goes on. Hemp shower curtains are environmentally friendly and naturally resistant to mold and mildew. Easy to clean. Again, just throw it in your wash every once in a while. If you really want it to be comparable to like a plastic lining, you could wax it, and if you wax it, that will make it pretty much waterproof. So that will keep the water in. Um, the worst is, and I think I might have had a liner with mine because they weren't treated. But once again, if you wax that hemp, uh, then then I think that again you'd get a pretty much very water resistant, if not waterproof, singular shower curtain. And again, no pesticides, no herbicides ever. No chemicals. When you're done with it, send it to the landfill. It will break down naturally, and it basically compostable for that matter. And you could throw it probably in the compost pile, and eventually it would break down. But you can bury it in the backyard, and it'll be gone in no time. Go back to nature safely, not negatively affect nature in any way as trash when you're done with it. Free Soul Vegan Protein Blend. I think I shot a picture of this over. This is on one of those best lists. And this is actually on the best vegan protein powder tried and tested by experts, 2025. But the best. This is on their best hemp protein powder. So again, hemp and vegan should be synonymous with each other at this point. The fact that there are so many vegans out there still, in my opinion, that don't know the nutritional value, specifically that protein, its protein ability, on top of the omegas and vitamins and minerals. is just it's just crazy to me to think it is literally the best vegan protein, best vegan plant, best plant for vegans to get protein from. I'll get it straight. I swear I will. And so, again, we are seeing more and more. I think if you look on the shelves at protein powders, there's going to be at least one there that has hemp in it. If it doesn't, then wherever you're shopping is not looking out for your best benefit. I'm going to have to, and I've never really looked in the grocery store for protein powders. I'm going to do that the next time I go in and just see if the local grocery store has a hemp option for protein powder on the shelves. Hemp seeds you can find, hemp milk you can find, various other hemp food products scattered amongst the store you can find. So you should be able to find this there. Um, as the smoothie world is still in existence, 100%. And again, vegans need their protein, and hemp is the greatest source for it. Da, 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 da. The Linen and Hemp Dream Lab. How does that sound? The Linen and Hemp Dream Lab will be an online platform that wants to revolutionize textile research and sourcing for the fashion and home industries in an eco-friendly, innovative solution way. Now, again, this is over in Europe. I don't know where they're going to be operating out of. I would only assume that because it's an online platform, and I did not Google it to see if there's actually a website up and running yet. They make it sound like it's available, but I don't know. They may still be in the works for this. I'll get some. I'll find out. But either way, again, this is they're universally going to promote hemp and all the things that you can do, and this is going to be something for sourcing as far as I think a resource, online resource to find hemp. And it's also going to be an online resource for hemp end product. Um, and so it could be, interesting how hopefully they're get to, promote hemp out in a non-biased way. I don't think that, they're not trying to promote any one particular product or anything like that. I think they're really just trying to promote the use and the utilization of industrial hemp. So, dream lab indeed. I dream of a hemp lab. I do. We had a golden lab. It's about the same color wise. We could have, one of our labs could have been literally a hemp lab as far as color goes. Anyway, um, another from Canada, because they love their hemp food up there for sure. They are just now starting to understand the value of that fiber and that herd shiv part of the stalk, because before it was just a waste product in the grain industry. But this is a company called Hempalta in Calgary, and they're going to prioritize nature-based carbon credit solutions, um, which is great, citing the scalability and global impact of industrial hemp as a key driver in the decision. I carbon credits. I kind of go back and forth on the whole thing, because if you buy carbon credits, and it just kind of gives you an excuse to pollute, but then still say you're environmentally friendly. Um, Buying carbon credits in hemp, or investing in hemp as a carbon credit solution, this I can get behind. Okay, hemp sequesters more hemp than or more carbon than trees. Um, you have byproduct availabilities, it's same as trees, but in a 6 month period of time, as opposed to 15 to 25 years. If you're growing a tree to cut it down, that's the lifespan there. If it's just a tree that's just out there growing, let it grow and let's stop cutting down trees. Make more hemp wood or hemp paper so we can stop cutting down trees. Anyway, uh, you know, I think the only thing that I don't like, again, as I stated, is it kind of gives an excuse to a polluter or a not eco friendly company to invest in something which is great, but it doesn't stop the badness that they're doing. It just gives them an excuse to uh, uh, continue what they're doing. And then once again, like I said, say, "Oh, we're eco-friendly because we like garbage." Whatever. And just recently, worldwide, well, I think it was in the Environmental Expo in France. Um, Carbon credit was in very low demand. It's in very low demand right now. And so I don't know that it's the best solution to once again offset the carbon destruction or companies that feel like that they're not helping with reducing the carbon in the air. Then I don't. I love that this is an option. I hope that this is like one of the only ones that prevails. Being able to invest in the growing of hemp to get your carbon credits. At least is like to me is it is kind of a double good too because you get your carbon credits and you're also promoting a plant that sequesters carbon better than anything else, and it's a better plant than anything else. Again, I will argue uh, this is yet part of why I would win the debate with anyone. I get hemp. You pick any agricultural crop you want. We debate which one's better for humans. I win every time. This is just, can your plant sequester carbon better than trees? Probably not. So put that in the checklist of beach wins this part of the debate. Anyway, um, and it's just yet another reason why we should just be growing more hemp for anything. When you grow for grain, sequestering carbon. When you grow for fiber, sequestering carbon. When you grow for hurd or shiv to make hempcrete out of, sequestering carbon, and then continuing to sequester carbon as it's hempcrete. And that carbon is stored forever, never to come back again. Maybe if you chunk it up and recycle that hempcrete, but you break it up, then maybe some of that. But hempcrete, literally, when you're growing the hemp, sequestering carbon. When you make a hempcrete wall, continues to sequester carbon and store that carbon. I mean, you are literally building a house um, that is doing its part on the whole carbon issue. Seems like a reasonable idea to me. Really, really does. All right. We got a little bit of stuff going on. The event wise. So February 22nd, I don't know, we probably don't have this graphic anymore, but you have the Thai Cannabis Festival. So this is coming up. Better make your plans quickly. Make your plans quickly on that one. April, you got some time to plan this. So April 10th through the 12th, NOCO, Estes Park in Colorado. That's the NOCOHempExpo.com for information. You will not be disappointed no matter where you travel from. If you are interested about learning about hemp, seeing hemp products, it's huge. It's huge. It's one of the best, if not the best, actual hemp events that's come along and still exists. Um, Here's a new one to the list, but I want everybody to try to start planning this one if you would like. But July 25th through the 27th is the Stargazers Cannabis Festival. This one's here in lovely Ohio, Waverly, Ohio. Um, but not too far from Cincinnati, not too far from everywhere. Honestly, it's pretty close to everywhere in Ohio. Um, but this might be just a fun again. It's all things cannabis, and they're doing music and everything. But they are also going to do, as you can see here, interactive hempcrete workshops. I've spoken with one of the organizers. I'm going to have him on the show probably in a couple months as we get closer to the event. Have him on the show. See what other hemp related things are available. And see if I can't get a little stage time even. So maybe we'll see. We'll see. I did volunteer my hemp knowledge, but I have not officially been given a time slot. Either way, they are promoting cannabis, I believe, in every form that cannabis comes in. So I love to see this hempcrete workshop going on. And so if you want to get in on a hemp building workshop, and a lot of people do, I think this will be a good event just to celebrate cannabis, period. Now, I don't know if they have a .com. I have not checked that far. I know that they are on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook, you can go find the Stargazers Cannabis Festival page, like it, get more information if you so desire. And then I'll try to I'll get, as we definitely get closer, I'll get more details. But I know that I can promote. I believe the name of the restaurant is the Brass Monkey in Waverly. But I'll talk about more about that later. That's on a personal note, but um, either way, I have thoughts. I have thoughts this week, as I had thoughts last week. They're kind of on the same line of thoughts, which is how will this administration affect hemp? Okay, last week it was the tariffs, which is definitely going to affect the importation of hemp, because we get all our material from China and we get most of our food from Canada. So if those tariffs go through now, I believe if I heard correctly, now he's putting a hold on those tariffs. So maybe me just talking about it last week let him know, come on, man, let's not mess with hemp. And so they're holding off. They're going to see what they can do. I appreciate that.
Yes.
I really do. In the same sense, and my thoughts this week are on the funding freezes. So this will directly impact if the funding freezes. And I do believe that now we are seeing a judicial backlash on the funding freezes. But I haven't seen yet whether some of the millions of dollars that have been granted for hemp research all over the country by the federal government are still available, or again are available, because at one point they were not available. Much like the funding for everything, there was a brief amount of time um, where all that funding went away. Okay. Um, Now, I do believe, again, because of the judge's orders, and I don't know if it was all the funding or they put a freeze on the freeze, which I think I might have seen the freeze on the freeze. Um, and so, once again, if that funding freeze goes through or continues, then this will affect millions and millions of dollars of hemp research. And this is, the government, the military themselves have are funding hemp research. Okay, and this is on a building aspect. Okay, so the military is funding hempcrete research. There's millions of funds for end product research, um, growing research, utility of the plant research. Um, there's on every aspect, marketing, all these things are actually have government funds that are you know promoting industrial hemp. Now, am I for cutting a lot of funding for things that are a complete waste of taxpayer dollars? Yes, I am. I don't know what category that puts me in, other than I'm a libertarian. If you and when I don't, I am not into politics. I would rather ignore all the politics. I don't care who's in charge; doesn't matter. They're all not great. I follow hemp politics. I get a little involved in hemp politics, but for the rest of it, it's all a big scam, and it always has been. You can buy into it, you can resist it, you can do whatever you want. You know, um, and so. Uh, yeah, I do believe that there's a lot of waste out there that taxpayers, you know, but hemp research betters humanity. Okay, I can get, I'm not saying it's as important as the medical research that sure as heck probably shouldn't be defunded. Um, but I do believe that if something benefits humanity, if the government is funding something that we can truly say benefits humanity in multiple ways, especially like hemp, well then okay, we should be researching that. We should be, promoting that, and we should be using that as much as we can. Is this as much a private sector thing as a government thing? It's more private sector. I want 95% of it to be driven by the private sector. I don't want, I don't want the hemp industry to be, have the government in its pocket any more than that, for that matter. Um, when it comes to research, yes, the government should probably spend some money researching hemp to the benefit of society, but private sector research is going to continue too. And, when the private sector, when some hempcrete company is big enough and they want to use hempcrete as a large scale, then they'll go through the processes of actually proving whether hempcrete can be load bearing or not. Now, we've seen some university students over a year or two ago developed a load bearing recipe for hempcrete. So it is possible. Why is that? I have not seen that accepted by the architectural world. Not the architectural world, but the OSHA. I don't know. Is that OSHA that would? I don't know. Department of Building. I don't know what federal agency overlooks that. I know that 49 out of the 50 states can legally build or use hempcrete in building. They call it insulation because once, like I said earlier, you have to have a load bearing frame and then you put the hemp in there. Um, when we could build skyscrapers with, say, just hemp and rebarb like they do now, and the hemp is the load bearing part, and we know that it can hold up, that's a game changer. That's huge in the industry. And I honestly can't believe that that isn't, because it was at least a year ago, I would say, if I went back and looked at my scripts, that I was talking about that load bearing hempcrete developed. Now, patent wise, that's probably owned by the university. I would think that it behooves them to get that approved if that's really true. That's really true. These students proved that this hempcrete is safe and strong enough for load bearing. Um, then then we should be using it for load bearing devices. And again, this is government research, and and maybe that's what this military hempcrete research, government research, funded research is going to prove. I don't know. Um, to me, I think that they're, in my head, I feel like they're testing it to see how well it takes a bullet. you know, like, when we're on foreign soils, it best in our best interest to be protected by hempcrete. How well does it take a bullet? I don't know. All around, I feel like it should be something, for its insulation purposes, it's antimicrobial, it's, flame retardant, um, will not catch flame, or at least would take more than 7 hours, because that's how long the YouTube video is, um, of hemp attempting to be put on fire. And so, uh, if I definitely would hate to see the funding for these millions of dollars of hemp researches that is being funded by the government, if these freezes do continue. Uh, Here's my opinion. I don't think that anyone should have the authority to take away money that's already been given to someone, even if they haven't claimed it yet. And I know that's exactly how this works. It's like you're given a website that you go log into, and your funds for your grant are available. When your funds for your grant are available, and you spend them, you have to whatever. I don't know how specifically it works, but generally, I believe that from what I've been hearing recently, that's how it works. Because these places that have these grants are trying to log into the websites, and they don't exist. They turn them off. And so, um, you know, maybe moving forward, we think harder and longer about what the government funds. But taking away the money that you've already given them, um, again, this is as like much retribution as anything, because most likely all the grants and the funding that's out there, it's either been going on forever, or it's something that possibly the last administration granted. Like all of these hemp research grants have all been granted in the last 4 years. They're all new. It's all new grants, federal grant research money. And so, once again, don't hold these people that are trying to do the right thing accountable because you don't like the last administration. I think that's just spiteful and ignorant. Hemp is not a partisan issue. It's a humanity issue. Again, Republicans and Democrats and libertarians and socialists and communists, everyone should be growing hemp. I don't care. They grow plenty of it in China, communists. You can look at every political ideology. Okay, if we're Democrats, you got socialists, you got communists. Everybody grows hemp. It's not a party issue. It's not a party issue. And that's again just anyway. Okay, well there you have it. I mean, I think actually I might change that to rants. It's like questions and rants. But they are my thoughts. They happen a lot during the show. They're happening a lot at the end of the show. It is a segment. It is an official segment of the show.
That's right.
If you do have any questions, you're definitely can ask me during the show. We appreciate you watching the show. Here's to next week's show, and me saying "show" just one more time. Fun times, fun times, fun times. We'll be back next Wednesday, folks, for the High Noon Hemp Show. Remember, reduce, reuse, recycle. Make everything else out of hemp. Having temptations.
See y'all next week.